This is The Door That Wasn't There.
The door that wasn't there. In a rambling, creaky old Victorian house, with more rooms than any sensible person could ever need, lived a girl called Willow Strong. She was 11 years old, with a mop of wild red hair that refused to be tamed, and a mind always drifting somewhere between reality and someplace far more interesting. She was being raised by her eccentric grandmother, a sprightly old woman with a passion for knitting, and an even greater passion for bulk buying groceries, which she proudly called her bargains. The house sat on the edge of London, nestled between a row of stately townhouses and a curious little bookshop that never seemed to open. Inside, it was a jumbled mismatch of antique furniture, likely there since the house was first lived in, ancestral portraits that occasionally winked, or so Willow swore, and doors that sometimes led nowhere, and sometimes to places you hadn't meant to go. Willow wasn't exactly popular at school. Children can be cruel, and Mandy Penfold, with her polished shoes and pinched nose, was the cruelest of all. She never missed a chance to whisper something awful about Willow's dad being in prison, or to speculate, loudly and often, about where her mother had disappeared to. Sometimes she made it sound like a grand mystery that needed solving. Other times, she treated it like a misplaced mitten. They were both due to start secondary school after the summer, and the thought of it made Willow's stomach twist uncomfortably. One bright Monday morning in July, Grandmother Strong set off to visit her ill best friend, reluctantly leaving Willow with the run of the house. She had asked Willow if she'd like to come, but after last time, Willow declined. Spending another day listening to two old ladies talk about knitting, aching joints, and neighbors she didn't know didn't appeal. It wasn't that she didn't love her grandmother. She did. It was just that she had other, far more interesting things planned. Like breakfast, and a quiet day watching television. She'd promised not to leave the house. She was in the pantry reaching for her favorite cereal, Crunchy Nut Claws, which contained no nuts, no claws, and very little crunch, when she saw the door. She'd half seen it before, lurking like a shadow inside another shadow, but it had never sparked her curiosity enough to investigate. She was used to odd doors in this house. Some led to nowhere, some to broom cupboards, some to rooms that definitely hadn't been there the week before. But this one felt different. It wasn't a cupboard door, or a hatch, or a painted panel that only looked like a door. It was a door, on the back wall of the pantry, and it was calling her name. It shimmered as sharply and vividly as the crunch in Crunchy Nut Claws pretended to be. It drew her forward. It blinked. The handle gleamed like it was made of liquid silver. Her mind buzzed with curiosity as she reached out, but her fingers passed straight through, as if it weren't there at all. "What?" said Willow out loud. She was, admittedly, quite good at saying the right things in moments like this. Leaning forward, she braced herself to shove it open, hard as her small body could muster. But there was nothing to shove. It wasn't wood, or metal, or any surface at all. It was made of nothing. It wasn't really there. An illusion, she realized, just as she fell straight through it. The fall wasn't long or painful. In fact, it wasn't even frightening. It felt like sliding down a buttery banister, if that banister were made of giggling marshmallow. She landed softly on her feet in a meadow so green it felt like the color was humming a lullaby. It took her breath away. Overhead, the sky was a rich lavender blue, and the fluffy white clouds were shaped like animals playing leapfrog. A signpost stood just ahead. It read, "To the left, somewhere you would not be interested in. To the right, not quite anywhere yet. Straight ahead. Yes, that's right. This way." Naturally, she went straight ahead. With a little trepidation in her step, Willow walked on. She hadn't gone far when she stumbled upon a giant color-changing toadstool. Yellow, pink, baby blue, soft green. All pleasant pastel colors, she noted. Atop the toadstool sat a scarlet and yellow badger, sucking a blue lollipop and reading a book of nursery rhymes. The book was upside down. "Ah, at last," he said, without looking up. "You're exactly 3 minutes too early, which just happens to be on time by local standards." "Am I?" said Willow. "Oh, yes," said the badger. "My name is Bartholomew J. Bumbletail. Would you like a cup of nectar?" He offered her a thimbleful of something that fizzed and tasted like cinnamon with a surprise. Bartholomew squinted at her over the top of his specs. "You look like someone who's forgotten how big she is." Willow tilted her head. I'm 11. Exactly, he cried, leaping to the ground beside her. The perfect age for forgetfulness, of size and of importance. Come on then, come along with me. He led her through fields that smelled like stories and over hills made of stacked books resting atop giant ginger biscuits, until they reached a peculiar garden where the flowers whispered arguments about who was more fragrant. At the gate stood a tangerine-colored goose who flapped sternly and demanded a password. Willow hesitated. Bartholomew leaned in and whispered, "Try saying something no one's ever said before." Willow thought hard, then declared, "Bubble wrap packaging makes a terrible umbrella, unless you're hiding from raindrops made of strawberry jam." "Excellent," honked the goose. "Never heard that one before. In you go." Inside, the garden felt alive with riddles. The flowers gave her questions instead of petals. "What's louder than silence, but quieter than a voice?" asked a bellflower. "A whisper," said Willow. The flower beamed. "Yes, a whisper of courage. You'll need that. Put it in your head for later." Further along, she met a sapphire-blue cat who huffed when he walked and puffed when he sat. "You're afraid of being small, aren't you?" he asked, not unkindly. Willow frowned. "I'm not afraid. I just don't like being laughed at for something I can't control, or being picked on." "Same difference," said the cat, flicking his tail. "Tell you what, race me to the top of the daring tree. If you win, I'll show you the way to the Hall of Monitors." Willow had no idea what the Hall of Monitors was, but if it held answers or help, she wanted to find out. She hadn't climbed a tree in years, but she knew she could do it. She'd always loved climbing trees. This was going to be easy. Up she went, scaling bark that peeled away like paper, past branches that whispered encouragement. She reached the top and touched a star-shaped white leaf, just moments before the cat arrived. The cat purred as he sat beside her. "Well done. You remember how brave you are," he said, nodding toward the ground far, far below. "Put this leaf in your pocket so you don't forget." The Hall of Monitors was a wide, echoing chamber filled with tall mirrors, reflections that argued with her and with each other. "You're not smart enough," said one. "You'll never stand up to Mandy," sneered another. But then, in the corner, she saw a tall mirror showing a different version of herself, standing tall, chin lifted, smiling without fear. "Who are you in there?" Willow asked. "I'm you," said the reflection. "The you without all that doubt you carry around." Willow stared, then took a deep breath and stepped closer. And just like that, it vanished. She blinked. She was back in the pantry, the cereal box still in her hand. She walked into the kitchen, feeling lighter than she had in ages. She poured the cereal into a bowl and watched the milk swirl in behind it. Then she glanced at the clock. 9:15. Not a single minute had passed. Yet it felt like she'd been away for a whole day. Something inside her had shifted, something important, and it was still growing. September came far too quickly. The first day of her new secondary school had arrived, just as all dreadful things eventually do. Willow stood in her new school uniform, the one her grandmother had bought for her, shoulders squared, ready for whatever the day might throw at her. And there she was, Mandy, smug as ever, sharp-tongued and swanning down the corridor like she owned it, trailed by her usual pack of giggling shadows. "Still don't know where your mum is, Strong?" Mandy sneered. Willow blinked slowly, then replied, loud enough for half the hallway to hear. "And yet here you are, obsessing over me like it's your full-time job. Should I be flattered you pay me that much attention?" "It must be exhausting, waking up every day and choosing to be that irrelevant. Tell me, did you rehearse that in the mirror? You did, didn't you?" She gave a soft chuckle. "Tell you what, next time I want to hear from someone with absolutely nothing useful to say, I'll ask Siri, with the Wi-Fi turned off." The hallway fell silent. Mandy turned scarlet and stormed off. Her shadows didn't giggle this time. Somewhere behind Willow, someone laughed. And just like that, something inside her settled into place. She didn't feel big. She didn't feel small. She just felt like Willow. And that was more than enough. That evening, she wandered into the pantry, not at all surprised to see the door was gone. But Willow knew it had been there, and that was enough. She also suspected that, if she ever needed it again, it would return. But deep down, in her heart of hearts, she knew she was strong enough to never need it again. The end.
Written by Barrel Coops. This was The Door That Wasn't There.
I hope you enjoyed my short story. Please hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. I am hoping to release a new one every week to 10 days. Everything from spy, stories, mystery, thriller, humor, futuristic, fantasy, period drama, and romance. Something for everyone. If you enjoyed this story, please give it a thumbs up. It helps others find my channel.